now is to try to keep you guys as informed and as updated on what's happening as we can. Town Hall will be staying open. We think it's important that we keep that line of communication open. Our doors will not be open, they'll be closed, so please call the 754-2277 number if you have any needs, or we do have the drop box so you can put your payments in there. Our motor vehicle is currently open. They're doing vehicle transactions only, and then we do have our fire, EMS, and police operating. The other thing I think is important for you guys to understand, I know it's off season, and I know everybody loves to get out of town and travel during off season, but I would want to encourage all of our locals to cancel any non-essential travel. And if you do travel across state lines, you need to seriously consider something. We don't need to be afraid, but we do need to be smart. And most importantly, we need to do what Red River always does and take care of each other and just be kind to each other. So I know this is stressful for everyone, but we will get through this. So we've asked Ron Verna to come, our former fire chief, and he has been monitoring the situation, and he's going to give us a little update. So Ron, I'll turn it over.
Mayor, members of the council, I think we're certainly dealing with, I apologize for having attitude. Dealing with essentially a virus that was not seen before by mankind 3 months ago. And believe me, the information curve, the learning curve on this virus has been as steep as the growth rate. And so what I wanted to do briefly this morning is provide the mayor and council with a little information and perhaps some insights that might be helpful for them as they entertain emergency declaration and make decisions on behalf of the town of Red River. I think maybe one of the most productive things we can do is just look at the natural course of someone who becomes infected with coronavirus and see how that goes and what that might look like. So if we start with a healthy person and they are exposed to a source of the coronavirus, another person who's that virus then invades their cells, particularly in the lungs, and it takes over, essentially hijacks the mechanism of those human cells, and it starts to replicate the virus by the millions. And at some point, that viral load then becomes sufficiently high that they would develop symptoms and that they become infectious to other people. And the point at which they develop, from the time they're exposed to the time that they develop symptoms, we refer to as the incubation period. Well, we're really familiar with a 14-day kind of time frame, and that was originally established by what we learned and what we studied from previously related viruses, the SARS outbreak in 2002, the MERS outbreak in 2013. And, but it turns out that the best information currently available for this virus is that most people, something over 90%, will develop symptoms within 5 days. It's still prudent to have 14-day quarantine time because there are outliers to that number. And so you could see the infectious up to 14 days. There's been a few cases that were even longer than that. So here's a question: during that time frame between exposure and developing symptoms, can you transmit the virus? Can you infect other people? And in all honesty, the absolute answer to that is not known at this time, but the answer is probably, because there have been anecdotal cases where that appears to have developed. The other issue that we deal with is that when I say that somebody develops symptoms and or becomes infectious, there are clearly quite a number of individuals who are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms, never develop a real sense of being sick, and yet they are still able to infect other people. And when that happens, does it happen early in the incubation period? Probably not, but the farther you get into that incubation period, the more likely that person is to be infectious to others and consequently able to spread the disease. Once the symptoms develop, then we also understand that people are going to fall into one of three categories, one being mild symptoms, and in many cases that's like a bad cold that people experience, they recover from, and there's no long-term consequences. And probably we're looking at something greater than 80%. A lot of more recent statistics indicate that probably 85–90% of people who become infected with the coronavirus actually have mild symptoms and recover without having to be hospitalized. If they develop significant shortness of breath, then they fall into a category that we refer to as severe and may require hospitalization in order to treat that illness. And then some small percentage will develop critical illness. And when we talk about critical illness, we're talking about people that need to be in an ICU and potentially on a ventilator. And we recognize that that's probably in the 10 to 5% range in that severe and critical illness. And that number obviously it changes on a day-to-day basis. So any of these numbers, I would encourage people to take with a grain of salt because we learn more and more every day. We understand that the people that are at greatest risk are the elderly, and I happen to fall into that category, so that's meaningful for me, and people with chronic health problems. And I would encourage people not to interpret that, meaning that, okay, I'm only 35 years old, so I really don't have much of a risk. Certainly there's some concerning data coming out of France over the last handful of days that indicates some significant percentage of their severe and critical patients fall in the 40 to 60 age group. So we just need to be cautious about feeling comfortable if we're not in the elderly or chronic disease category. Also, a question that we deal with sometimes is how long, if somebody is infected and they have what we refer to as viral shedding, meaning that if they cough or sneeze, they project aerosols and droplets into the environment. They touch a doorknob or a light switch or the keypad into their PIN number when they're checking out at the grocery store or something. They can actually leave viruses, contaminated surfaces. And how long are those surfaces then considered to be able to transmit the infection? Some really good recent data, some very good tests were done. And it turns out that aerosols, a sneeze in this environment, how long can those aerosols persist in the air? And perhaps up to 3 hours is information that we have at this time. If you touch a surface and leave viruses on that surface, how long will they remain infectious on that surface? Depends on the surface. Cardboard, probably about 24 hours, and I would just extrapolate that to include currency like dollar bills. If it's Formica countertops, a wood surface like this, stainless steel, looks like that virus can remain viable for up to 3 days. And so that underscores the importance of repeated cleaning of surfaces that come in contact with people. Let me talk about testing for just a minute. We understand that in the United States, there's been a lot of controversy and some problems with being able to test for COVID-19 illness. And one of the problems that we have is that the numbers that we have in terms of confirmed cases is probably a gross underestimation of the people who actually have the infection. We're just not able to test. And currently, those limits are being slowly chipped away at and resolved. Probably over the next several weeks, we're going to see a lot of those limitations go away. Part of that has to do with FDA's approval that private labs and academic centers can now do their own testing, and a lot of the academic centers have developed their own test kits that are separate from what the CDC provides and use a different reagents, and so they're not subject to the supply chain shortage that's currently being experienced. And so I think we'll see that more and more people tested. Currently today, because we still face real limits, if you want to be tested for the coronavirus, you would need to have signs and symptoms suggestive of an upper respiratory or lower respiratory infection, and some reason to be suspicious that you had an exposure. Travel to a hotspot, and those hotspots become more and more diffuse. If you look at the map of the United States, it looks like a red blob now. And or close contact with a known patient. So we still are faced with some pretty significant limits on who can actually get tested. But again, I think that situation is going to resolve. And I think that the people who absolutely need to be tested, the state of New Mexico has the capacity to do that currently. One other note about lab testing, and that is any kind of a medical lab test we look at to see how accurate that test is. And we use a term called sensitivity. Sensitivity means if you tested 100 people who were infected, how many of those people would turn positive on the test? And the data is still out on the current CDC test, but early studies have indicated that the sensitivity is probably about 70%. So of those 100 people that are actually infected, maybe only 70 come back as a confirmed positive. Part of that may have to do with how early in the course of their infection are they tested. The earlier you are, it depends on having a sufficient viral load in the upper respiratory tract, particularly the nasopharynx, in order to test positive. If you're too early in the process, even though you are infected, it may not come back as a positive. So again, we have to take the numbers with a grain of salt. Another consideration is that a lot of people, because we have limits in testing, a lot of people might be infected but not showing up in the numbers. And a paper that I read just yesterday indicated that maybe that the confirmed case numbers probably only represent about 1/7 of the true total number of people infected. So what does it mean? We have a lot of people out there in the United States who may be carrying the infection, may have mild symptoms or be asymptomatic, or maybe too early in the process to test positive, but they can still transmit the infection to others. And so how do we combat that? Well, there's a clear answer to that, and one that we're all dealing with. And the reason that we're in this environment for this public meeting is social distancing. And to put it very bluntly, the more you interact with people, the greater your risk, because we could very easily have a coronavirus infection in the room today that we don't know about. Let me talk a little bit about the healthcare system and capacity. I know that if you've watched the news at all in the last week, probably you've seen the graph that shows the two curves. One, if you have the spread of the virus without any kind of controls or preventative measures, and the other is if we do take action. And I can tell you that we certainly are seeing a healthcare system completely overwhelmed when we look at Italy. And it's interesting to note this morning, I saw a report that actually there are Chinese physicians who are now going to Italy to help them cover their current caseload. And in fact, they were so overwhelmed in Italy that they were recruiting medical students who are not doctors yet, recruiting medical students to work in the hospitals, because their system is just absolutely overwhelmed. Hopefully we don't get to a point like that, but that's the reason for being proactive and aggressively proactive. And I think I have to applaud the state of New Mexico and the governor and kind of other local governments around the Enchanted Circle for being aggressive and being very proactive in terms of prevention. Let me just close quickly, unless council has any questions that I might be able to answer. But you know, what are the reasons why the town of Red River or the town of Taos or the county of Taos or any other local government would take the step of declaring an emergency? And I think that it has a number of reasons for doing that. One of which is just to create the mindset that hey, this is real. There are real risks involved. There's real harm that can be done in the community if appropriate steps are not taken. I think the other clear reason is to allow local government to be agile, if you will, in terms of its decision-making capabilities as new situations arise, and to streamline that decision-making process and to establish priorities. If we have to curtail this service in order to meet the emergency needs, then that's something that the council has considered and adopted as part of their emergency process. And certainly not the least, which is to open the door for emergency funding that might be available from state and federal governments. So I applaud the town council for considering this resolution, and I would encourage you to adopt it. I'll be happy to answer any questions if I skip over something that might be of concern or interest.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. And just to follow up on what Ron said about the services that will be available, because the governor has declared the state of emergency, we do have certain economic funding that will be available as of right now with SBA, the Small Business Association, and with the Economic Development Department. I believe those are all going to be loans, and we're not sure exactly what the dollar amount is going to be, but they do recognize the economic impact this has had on our small businesses. And then also with restaurant closures, with non-essential businesses possibly being closed, there are going to be employees that are going to be laid off. So they have streamlined the process to get unemployment. I think everyone's going to be eligible for maybe more unemployment than possible than they would have had. And then also they are going to not have that requirement that you have to go out and ask for people to sign that you're out doing jobs. The other thing I've heard is that people that are on the SNAP program, the benefit programs, everyone will be receiving full benefits. So if you weren't receiving full food stamps or whatever in the past, everyone will bump up to full benefits. So the state is taking some pretty serious measures to make this easier on everybody, even though we recognize there's absolutely nothing easy about it. So that said, the next item on the agenda is consideration and approval. That's right, Resolution 2020-06, delegating authority to declare an emergency. And this is not actually declaring an emergency. It is, okay. So this gives the authority to actually declare the state of emergency. So I know there was a lot of controversy around Albuquerque's declaration. Ours is very, very simple. It's one that we've put in place before. We've done this for fires. We've done it for, I think, Memorial Weekend before. So anyway, this is something we've done before. It's not like you're giving us this unlimited power to do things that would be harmful to the community. I think everybody has seen a copy of the declaration that requested it. So at this time, I will take a motion to adopt resolution 2020-06. Yes. There typically is,
The authorization, if there's one, if you want to add the time.
we could certainly add one.
Next page, short.
What would the time frame be that would be acceptable at this time?
14 days, 2 weeks, I think.
I don't think so. I think it needs to be for 8 weeks. Yeah.
This just allows, it's not that we're going to be doing anything, it just allows us to be able to seek funding if it's available.
Right, so this grants the authority to the mayor, the town administrator, and the town official, who would be our fire chief, to declare that a state of emergency or a state of disaster exists within the corporate limits of the town of Red River for the purpose of exercising necessary emergency powers and expenditure of available resources and requesting aid, assistance, and relief program and funds available from the state. So basically, this is just giving us the authority to seek help. And I would say that once the emergency situation is ended, it will be.
We can certainly add that language to the end.
So why don't we just, where it's appropriate to add it in here for 90 days? Okay, so we'll amend it. Okay. So if I could have then a motion to adopt the resolution with amendment of a 90-day term.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-06, declaring an emergency. Change 30 days.
Got a second?
Second.
Are there any other questions or discussion on that? Okay. Roll call?
Councilor Foley?
Yes.
Councilor Cudington?
Yes.
Councilor Cherry?
Yes.
Councilor Morgan?
And motion carries. Right, at this time, we do want to have a little time for public comment. I think people have been submitting their comments online. So Sybil, do we have some comments?
We have no further comments at this time.
All right. If there's no other business, we'll be adjourned. Thank you all. Be safe. Wash your hands.